You know your boy love a good book, especially an old book, 1602. This is a brief and true relation of the discoveries of the north part of Virginia being a most pleasant, fruitful, and whatever. Okay? Now, this one ain't going to go too deep into the book. I'm going to go and do some more of that later, but I wanted to start to tell myself that that I really need to look more into some of these locations that they're talking about. So here it says, Lieutenant of Cornwall and Governor of the Isle of, I wasn't sure what that was at first. I thought it was Ivory, but that F is an S, and actually this I thing is a J, the Isle of Jersey. And just to show you where the Isle of Jersey or Jersey Island is, here it is. It's an island of Jersey. A little bit more of an idea so you can get an idea of the scale of it. Here's Jersey, the island. And yes, Jersey like New Jersey. This was so-called Old Jersey. But technically, it could be flipped. We could have Old Jersey and this could be New Jersey. Who knows? But this was Jersey. And as you can see how small it is in comparison. But this is where Sir Walter Raleigh, Knight Captain for Her Majesty's Guards, Lord of Warden of the Stannaries, Lieutenant of Cornwall, whatever. This is who they sent. These are the people who were over this whole thing of going through this voyage to the Americas in 1602. Or at least that's when the book was written. Now, without getting into the book, just the little piece of information from there had me find this. And we all know now these mounds. So that's the first thing I see. And it's a castle. I'm just starting to see these things. Thanks to We Know the Truth, who's been tough on this. My eyes are a lot more open to be like, oh, look at that. And it's definitely on top of a mound. This is also La Hogue Bee Museum. They actually have a tunnel that goes into the mound where you can actually go through, and I saw a video of it. It's all emptied out now, obviously, but it's a mound. And you have a structure sitting on top of it. And here's another shot of it as well. Obvious mound, obvious structure at the top, way over there, even in this far off, small as island. That's why I'm saying this and why this is so important. You have a small island that's somewhat in the middle of nowhere, but it's not. Technically, when you have islands like this close to land masses like this, it becomes like a luxury estate for those who are higher up. Which makes sense because, if you want to really separate yourself from the people, put a bunch of water in between. Now, why is it important to even think about why this castle made of stone is sitting at the top of a mound? What does that have to do with us? Well, it was known here to be built in 1212. So you start to look at architecture and you start to think about commonalities. Anybody might build a square house, and just because I build a square house here, somebody builds a random square house over there, it's not hard to know that we would probably have the similar architecture, or that architecture could be copied without, them even knowing that I exist, and I have done it too. But to have mounds that are piled up with tons of earth, with structures made of specific stone that was only built during specific time periods, and they have similar architectures. They all got these little structures and different intricate details. Some of them even more. Some of the more like later or even earlier models have even more details. But all of this starts to show you a pattern of architectural design that just doesn't come about. These people wouldn't just be building with the same things as other people just randomly. This is another one. As you can see, it's a mound that goes up. It goes up, mound at the top, castle. This is another one. And here you go. Similar structures, similar patterns and things of that nature. Well, the Maya, who existed well before that time period, also built structures with mounds and castles on top of them as well, even more massive. This one not necessarily being on a mound, but it is a pyramidal mound structure of stone leading up to their actual place where they do all their, almost like a stadium right there. more structures sitting on top of a mound on top of theirs, and then there's their more stone mound structure. So really, this book just kind of got me thinking even further into the story. This may not amount to a whole lot to some, but it helped me find even more mound structures in places I didn't know existed. And sometimes the stuff be literally in our face. Well, it's not really in your face. Not everybody's going around reading a book from the 1600s, but it was in my face because I've read this chapter a couple times and I hadn't really even looked into what that word was and the Isle of whatever. And now it already started me thinking about Jersey, New Jersey, mounds, castles, who was there first, who influenced who, the world has been propagandized for way too long, and a lot of information has been hidden and changed on purpose. These people have been playing, and we're all trying to come up and trying to uncover the story. So no ideas put on the table are too crazy. Typically, always have an open mind when looking at these things. But I'm going to be reading further into this book to see what I can find out, of course, more than, and I'll be sharing that, of course, with you all. But again, Jersey, the Isle of Jersey, whatever, it is what it is. But mounds, castles at the top, it's a pattern made out of stone, all this stuff, very much so a pattern. Who did it first? Why do they do it? It is what it is. Quit playing.